gonna hit the button.
I just hit the button. Welcome to Bogside Chats, where we're talking everything DeFi Kingdoms and keeping it casual. My name is Matty Pesk. As always, I am joined by Franz and Guy Kid. Boys, how we doing?
Doing great. Having a great night. I didn't think of anything to say. What's up, Guy?
I just realized I have a sip of sunshine in my fridge. At what point in the podcast am I allowed to leave and go get that?
Whenever you want, Guy. That is up to you.
They're actually not sponsors, though, so I don't.
Well, let me cut this conversation off because I need to introduce our guest. I am very excited we have him on here. Kingdom Studios' own Winston Jazzhands is joining the pod tonight. Winston, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me. Been looking forward to getting in here, and this is a great week to talk about it. Just a lot's happened in the last 2 weeks. So yeah, thanks for having me.
Totally. We are very excited. We're going to be talking about Berserker for sure. I kind of have broken up topics, and I think Berserker I'm going to save to the end because I think we're going to talk about that like a ton and like all the new stuff with Berserker. We're very excited to talk about that. We're very excited to have you on. I want to start with your title with Kingdom Studios is QA specialist, right? I mean, that's what I pulled from the website. Can you give us like a quick definition of how you define that? Like, what does that mean? What do you do for Kingdom Studios?
Sure. Yeah. So it's generally QA is quality assurance. Some people say Q&A, and that's question and answer. Like that's not the same thing. It's fine if you say that. Everybody knows what you're talking about, but it's like ATM machine. We're kind of like inside. We're like, we're judging you a little bit. Software quality assurance. We don't have any like physical products. It's a really common thing for quality assurance to be like, you're in a warehouse making sure car doors are not going to blow up or something. Like that's a really common physical quality assurance. But I'm all totally software based, so web is kind of my specialty. I came up doing Web 2 for an ad agency. Like they had a bunch of clients and they were building their own like content management system before like real content management systems were out there, and you could just like spend $50 a month or something, So they were trying to build one from the ground up and charging people a ton of money for that. And it was fun. So I really enjoyed doing that. And I worked with Fox at another job where we like sort of aggressively sold things on the internet. Like they used consultants to work with their friends and family to sell these products. So got a lot of experience doing that. And so, yeah, as the quality assurance specialist, I like to touch anything web related that goes out. So like when things are changed on the site or when we push a new update, anything like that, I'll usually try to look at it. In best case scenario, it's like I'll kind of be part of it in the beginning. So I'll hear we don't have this too. Well, I guess we kind of do. So Hubert is kind of like almost like a product owner. He says, I want this. And then we figure out how to make that happen. And it's nice to be part of like, Hubert wants this, and the reason why he wants it, being part of that conversation really helps to define the testing, like how it's supposed to work and what it's supposed to do. So I get to test everything. It's great. In a perfect world, I get to be part of it, the whole life cycle from the beginning to the end.
That's super cool. I mean, I'm assuming, and this is a bold assumption, that you just like gaming in general, like as a side thing, but like you weren't previously doing QA for gaming projects, right?
No, I wasn't.
Yeah.
No, I love playing games. I had a roommate that actually went to college to be a computer scientist, and he made games, and like that's about as close to actually making games as I got before now. But a lot of it is the same. Like you're making something that's software based, and you have requirements and things that are supposed to happen and things that are not supposed to happen, and you just take little bites and check those things off, and all of a sudden you made something.
Yeah, it's very cool. So I always thought maybe like tester is the wrong. Your job title is not game tester. Like that is kind of a different category of what you're doing. Because I always thought like Well, I would love that job. Like that'd be the coolest job if I could build up my resume to be a game tester. But you're doing something different than that, kind of. Well, kind of. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B, actually. So I'm doing quite a bit of hands-on testing. But in the life cycle of the project, I'll write test cases as well. So it's, 150 or 200 lines of like,
It's a lot of lines.
I don't know. I'm trying to think. It's a lot of lines. Yeah, I'm trying to think of a good example of like what. So if you were like going to the summoner and you wanted to summon, like one test case would be make sure heroes that don't have summons are at the bottom, and make sure heroes that are on cooldown are at the bottom, and make sure when you pick heroes that it won't let you if you don't have enough tiers, and make sure you can buy tiers and all that stuff. And so it's like line for line. It's that, and it sounds ridiculous to go through and make a line item like that for every single thing, but it's like
that's needed.
You want to check every single one of those things, and it's really easy to forget to do it if you don't have a reminder.
No, totally. So I guess the obvious question, and we talk about this on this podcast like all the time, is like the gaming aspect of it and the game, part of DFK. Like we want to play the game, we want to be doing that. How much of what you're doing is playing the actual game, or at least a version of it that they give you?
Yeah, probably like 25%.
Oh wow, okay.
25% playing. There's a lot of writing and a lot of reading and a lot of trying things that I guess you could call it playing the game, but it's not really playing the game. It's like almost like unit testing tiny little sections of it. But like a quarter, probably. It's good to. So sorry, I'm eating broccoli and I've got no shame, so I'm just eating and talking at the same time.
100%. We're all drinking. Don't worry about it.
I'm not drinking.
And
that's guy. Go get a drink. Go get a drink, guy.
It's good to be a player as well, because you can put yourself in the position of a player, right? Like understand like what they're doing and why they're doing things, and how important certain items are, and how it feels to play. So I think that's really important to be a player as well.
I think that's a big part of it. I've played some games in the past where it felt like there was a real disconnect between the people making the game and the meta changes, the balancing changes that they made, and like what the community actually wanted. And I feel like the DFK team is pretty in tune with that. So I think that's a very important thing you just said.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, for sure. I would agree with that. Yeah, I think we care. I mean, we care what the community thinks to a point, because there's so many voices. There's so many voices and so many ideas, and like some of them are great ideas and some of them are good ideas, and like there's really no bad ideas, but some of them are like more maybe harder to do, or I'm being generous here, maybe they're more difficult, or like they're incomplete. How about that? They're incomplete ideas, it's like it would be awesome if we had horses, and like, all right,
yeah, sure,
that's not a bad idea. That's cool. Horses are cool.
That was an example of a good idea, right?
That's great. That's how you see. No, it's a great idea right there. So, but we try to pay attention, but also not to the point where like we can just be swayed, and which maybe that's like a good segue. I don't know where you wanted to go next, but maybe that's a good segue.
I don't know if I didn't. Oh, man, I didn't want to. Well, all right. Let's go to nerfing and balancing. I'm gonna avoid one topic that's related to that, but I think we love talking about this. We've talked to Workhorse and Hubert on this podcast. Wait, we talked to Hubert was on this podcast, right? Am I losing my mind?
Yes, he was.
Was that the WoWie stream? All right, sorry. I've talked to him a couple times now. But anyways, and we've talked to them kind of about their like philosophies that they have for like nerfing and balancing, basically like a live game. The game is like happening live, and people are buying and selling heroes and stuff like that, and they're making adjustments, which I think they totally should be allowed to make, and I think we all trust the game devs and the team to like make those decisions. So I'd love to know like where do you come into that process of balancing testing? And then there's a follow-up question to that of like the actual nerfs and buffs that have been made right now. But right now, let's just talk about like in general, where do you like come into that process to like when these guys want to like adjust something into the gameplay?
Yeah, in the middle, Beetle Dude has to he'll I guess like the life cycle of it would be that Hubert decides we need to make a change, and whatever reason that is, he makes a decision. He updates some documentation, and then Beetle Dude will implement that in the combat engine, and then we'll try it. Like we'll leave it in testing for a while, and usually, depending on how like a new class, like that's probably like a week or maybe 10 days of balancing, because you want to try all the different stuff and see. Aside from just balancing, like there's probably gonna be broken stuff too, because it's just a lot. It's a lot of stuff. It's hundreds and hundreds of lines of code, so it's like pretty common for just like whoops a daisy. We want to find all that, and then balancing, just trying to make sure. I'm in the camp. Me personally, I'm in the camp of like we should always make it harder, because people love a buff, right? People love a buff. Like if it's too hard and you can give them something that makes it easier, they're like, thank you. But nerfing, people don't like that. It's like they spent time building things around the something that we're nerfing, maybe. So we have to be careful not to nerf something into like oblivion.
Right.
Like nerf it out so it's totally useless. Like that's not the plan at all. It's more about balance, more about but bringing out making you try the other stuff, right? Like, and that's usually part of a nerf is like there's a nerf here, and then over here we maybe won't say it, but we're making something else a little better.
Yeah,
hoping they'll try it.
No, I think that's good in general. I kind of like that idea. I don't know. I think I don't know. It's hard to comment. I don't know because I don't want to.
I've got a follow up there since Maddie is just kind of rambling and saying I don't know and smiling. So it seems like the main kind of mechanic that you guys have used for nerfing thus far is amnesia.
Right.
I think what Maddie was dancing around was the archer nerfs, and we can get into that more specifically. But that was the addition of an amnesia. Is there ever any conversation around, or is it on the team's radar that like you're kind of guiding us towards a certain style of gameplay with using amnesia? Like, I don't know, the Archer one, the addition of amnesia to One Small Stone, I know a lot of us now use a very set combo where it's multi-shot, rapid shot, One Small Stone, and it fits within that amnesia. So yeah, I mean, I guess how does that kind of come into play where you're not thinking about it in a vacuum, like, oh, we need to nerf this one thing. It's, what else happens as a product of that.
Yeah, definitely. Can you distill that question down a teensy bit more? There was a lot of sorry.
Basically,
I talked shit to Maddie about rambling and then proceeded to do the same thing.
No, I just want to make sure I'm answering it. That's all.
Yeah. So
amnesia,
down, I would say
amnesia seems to be the main tool to nerfing things. Is there a thought process behind using specifically amnesia to nerf the power set or the moves of the heroes?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, just making it so you I don't want to say, man, I don't even know the right word. It's kind of like a fast way to quickly adjust the usability of a tool, like if we decided to like change One Small Stone to do a little more damage or a little less damage or a little more crit or a little less crit or one or two of that type of thing, it ends up being like something we have to try and it takes time. Whereas amnesia is really easy to drop in. And there's been times where we've over amnesia'd and under amnesia'd and changed that before it was actually released. But yeah, I mean, it's a pretty well thought out, just like you're saying, how it's like a kind of building like a loop of like you use these particular skills in a certain way and you don't even notice that there's amnesia, right? It's like the idea was you shouldn't just use the same skill over. Well, I don't know what to do, so I'll just use the skill that I always use. It's like I don't need to strategize or think. Right, exactly. And it's like if it doesn't hit this time, it'll hit next time or the time after. And you really only need one or two of those for them to be devastating. One or two one small stone crits like changes the whole game. So, and you can still get those, right? Like it's just you can't just spam it until you get one, right? Like it's just got to be kind of like, oh shit, well I'm kind of in a tight spot here and I need the crit, or it'd be great to get a crit now. It's not just the number one plan of every game.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of building off that, or unless you have to do a follow-up, Franz, you go.
No, I mean, nothing too monumental, but you mentioned that you're of the mindset of buff rather than nerf because of the reaction the community has to that. It seems like with the Seer and the Berserker, there's not much amnesia to start. I don't know. I think we were talking on this pod that we were expecting it to be kind of put in, and we already saw it with Sanctuary. So it looks like is that kind of the game plan of like, hey, let's see how this community uses these things, and we'll add that amnesia as needed?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, there's some obvious things where that it's just necessary, and like we've kind of learned that it's better to add it in and take it out later if we need to. But honestly, Sanctuary is kind of a tricky one because we talked about that before the release, where it's like this is kind of a no-brainer move. Like if you don't know what to do, use Sanctuary because you can't like overheal yourself, right? You get a bubble and everybody gets one, and it's a no-brainer. So, but we sort of decided that it was close enough to the launch that we'd try it out and see. Because the other thing is the Seer didn't really have, like there aren't any other no-brainer moves. There's like you really have to strategize and put stuff together. So we decided to see how bad it would be, and it wasn't actually like it wasn't like a one small stone kind of situation. But it was, it was still a little bit too powerful.
I was personally using it almost every turn. Like I was reluctant to use Warstone or other things because it's like, well, I get serious benefit here. Like, let me just keep using it,
Yeah, can't afford to waste a turn on something that's not going to be the best thing you can do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Well, no. I my question was kind of in general about decision making in general about like gameplay and stuff like that. And I think I don't know if we're there yet, but because I've asked this a couple times now, and the team has kind of said like, yeah, that information is out there, but we're not really looking at it. But like, are you guys worried about class usage? Like everyone is using archers exclusively, so we need to balance the game so that archers are not used as much. Like, I feel like is that something you guys are thinking about, or have you thought about that at all, or in terms of like, what classes are being used, are some being overused or underused, stuff like that?
Sure. Yeah. No, I think I understand what you're asking. Yeah, it's a good question. I don't think we're too worried about it right now because it's still pretty early. But to your point, we did make some changes to the archer because it was clear that you could just use 3 archers, and that was fine. Like you could just like, why waste your time with other stuff when like this is really fast and works really well. So in that circumstance, we needed to do something about it. But even still, like archers are like pretty important. It's not like they were taken out of the meta. Like they're still twice as expensive as the other heroes. I think one thing we're doing with balancing, aside from just going in and changing them, so for example, I think the priest is kind of underutilized right now. Like not a lot of people, you don't see a lot of healers. You see a lot of like archers and warriors and knights. You don't see a lot of priests, but I think the priest is really well suited for the berserker. Like the berserker's hurting himself. He's hurting his teammates. He's hurting. So having a teammate that is just devoted to like mitigating that is huge, so I would like to see us bring priests back into the mix to support berserker teams. It'd be cool to see that going on because I think priests go great with them.
Something we talked about on this podcast, Guy Kid, he came up with this idea, but the double bubble, I think the double bubble team, the priest berserker team, could be very successful.
Give me a tank berserker behind that double bubble.
Yeah.
I'm also pro priest. I feel like the attacks can be just devastating when you need a big hit. So if you guys want to go ahead and buff it so that everyone else starts using it, I'm fine with that.
That would be great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
more damage on on the tier 5. More damage on the tier 5, definitely.
Yeah, no, yeah. Also, there will be a part of the interview later where we just request things of you, please. But we'll save that to the end.
Yeah.
But I do want to talk about the Archer nerf a little bit more, and I say the Archer nerf. The one small stone and repeating shot got the added amnesia, and the community was upset. And I think there was a lot of talk about it on Discord. I think. Did you expect that? And also, like, what were your thoughts on the community kind of response to that?
Yeah. We definitely expected that. Like, it was kind of a big change, and it had gotten to the point where it was pretty clear that people were, I don't want to say people are abusing it, because it's not like an abuse.
No, yeah.
Like, you're not cheating. It's just like, the Archer is the best way to do it. So. Yeah, we were expecting people to not be happy about it, but at the same time, pretty quickly, a week or two later, it was kind of figured out that you just have to like be a little more thoughtful about what you do and when you use it, and you can't just spam it all the time. And that's really what the solution is about. And like I would, I don't know. I think that it's an unpopular opinion, but anyone who would kind of argue otherwise has a shitload of archers, right? It's not that that they're right. It's that they are impacted by it directly. They made a decision to go really hard on something that was a quick win button, and we usually come back and change stuff like that. So unpopular opinion in the sense that like it sounds kind of bad, but also like it's not broken mechanics, but if something is obviously like a win button, we're going to change that. So don't go too hard on it.
No, I think that's totally fair. I think I don't know. That kind of leads me to another subject that I don't know if I really want to get into, but the idea of kind of like, are you making decisions based on
feedback?
Yeah. And that's a bigger topic that I don't know maybe if I want to touch on, but in general, like, when people are loud in the Discord and making noise about that, does that affect the team's decisions? And how does that affect the team's decisions?
Yeah, sure. And I
want to be vague about this. It's answer it however you want. I'm not talking about anything specifically. I'm just saying, like,
let him answer.
Let the man talk.
Yeah. So I would just say that we read a lot of the stuff that is said, and if it's a lot of people saying it, then we'll push it on other team members. It's like, hey, if you haven't read this, you need to read it. People are talking about it. And I guess the way we look at it is if you have a good point and are objectively right, it's hard to argue with that. I think the best example would probably be, just the most recent example, right, would be duels, and how we took out 1v1 and then added it back in, and we changed the rotation and added it back in. And I don't want to say that either of those decisions were incorrect, like changing the rotation or removing 1v1, but I think we could have done it better. And I think that there were a lot of really good points in Discord that if people knew about this in advance, they would have changed their strategy quite a bit. And that's a really good point. Like, that's true. Like, we could have been more, not even open. It's like, we could have put that up a week before and said, hey guys, things are changing, and let everyone know so they could change their strategies. And we didn't really do that. And so that was kind of a mark against us, of like, not a mark against, but it's like, maybe we should do something here. Like, maybe, like, that's a really good point. Maybe we should bring 1v1 back, or maybe we should look into some ways to work these other class bonuses in. And so that got us talking about it, and we started getting opinions from the team internally. And then, we kind of quietly talked to the community too. Like, sometimes we'll talk openly in Discord, and sometimes we'll just like DM a little bit back and forth. But like, I don't know. It's like, we're all pretty moderate. We're all pretty level-headed. And if something is objectively right, it's like, yeah, okay, this is a bit of a fuck up. Like, what can we do so that we're not totally going back on what we've done? We're not totally reversing it, but we're also giving a little bit of play for like yeah, okay, we should have done this better. So let's see if we can find someplace in the middle where the people who are not happy stay not happy, and the people who are kind of like excited about it get excited about it. It's like, I don't know. You can't really make everyone happy, but when we do something poorly, there's a lot more opportunity for us to look at it again and potentially change it.
But I think that is spot on. That's very level-headed and like a good response. And while I'll say this too, I've said publicly, like on this podcast and a couple other podcasts, like I if the team is going to make gameplay decisions and it upsets certain individuals in the community, I think that's just the nature of the world that we're in, and we got to deal with it. And I don't want to upset anyone. I'm not trying to upset anyone when I say that, but like there needs to be some leeway that the team has, in my opinion, on decisions that they make. And it is very tough right now because there are economic effects, hypothetically, to an Archer nerf. There potentially are economic effects to that, and like it is stressful. But I think, like, I'm all in on that, like, and I'm ready to deal with that. I think at that, like, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again, like, I'm not committing too much money to this don't go all in, I guess is my point. Like yeah. Play this game where you can play it for fun and not
as a game.
As a game, yeah, play it as a game, exactly. And that's how like I approach this, where if there is a change, I'm not going to be economically destroyed if that change happens, and so I think, I don't know, that's how I approach it. I want to play it as a game, and I'm ready for the game devs to change things if they want to. However, I understand there are people who are playing this as, or maybe not playing is the wrong word, but people take this differently. They consider themselves investors or some other term, and they get like way more upset about these decisions. And I don't really have a question for you. I'm just talking randomly right now.
No, I'm with you. Yeah, we experienced that a little bit.
How do you deal with that?
I don't know. I mean, it's like, so it's exactly what you're saying. Like, there's, you can't please everybody. Some people, like, it's hard to say entitled because that's like not quite the right word. Like, I don't think people are acting entitled to something they're not entitled to. Like, that's not what I'm saying at all. But I just think, like, I mean, if you like, I don't know. It's just how many times can you do this to yourself? Where it's like, if you try to exploit's the wrong word too. Like, if you try to find something that you can use to mine lots of tokens, and then we change it because it's clearly like not intended to work that way. Like, on the fourth or fifth time, stop being mad about it. Like, it's like, they got me again. They found it and they fixed it. I wonder where the next, because part of the game is like finding those, right? Part of the game is finding like, like eggs are hard to get now. So it's like, I'm going to go get buy cheap pets and turn them into eggs and sell the eggs, then get a profit, and people were doing that for a little while. And that's not something we would fix. Like, that's how economies work. Like, that's intentional.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
it's if your goal is to break the meta, you can't be upset when it gets fixed, when you're successful in that. It's profitable to break the meta in any game, or not profitable in any game because not all Web3, but yeah.
No, I agree. Let's move on from that because that is kind of controversial. And we have a lot to talk about. The Berserker. That's what we need to get into right now. And I'm very excited about it. First thing I want to say is a bunch of changes were made to the codex and how the Berserker works in general. Give us a little bit of backstory on that if you can. I don't know how much you can share or allowed to share, but like a bunch of his codex was changed. Like, the one that was released versus the one that's on the codex is way different. So like, talk about that a little bit if you can.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's great. That one's actually pretty easy to answer. It's the codex was written a long time ago, and now we've learned a lot with the 5 other classes and just things that work and things that don't. In this case, we knew PvP was coming, and we knew that was something we had to consider as well. And a lot of the the Berserker, I wouldn't say it was overpowered in PvP, but it just like there was a lot of stuff that it did that was kind of like, maybe this isn't right for PvP, you know. So the combination of just it being old news and the stuff that's coming up required a bit of a change. Also, I remember, I wish I knew exactly what they said, but I want to say Workhorse said that it wasn't Berserk enough. Like, it needs to be more Berserk, and that was part of their process for coming up with more.
He said I think it was an AMA or somewhere, I forget, but he said in tiers 1 through 5 there was no Berserk happening, so he wanted to make sure that it did happen, so he like added it to a bunch of the tier 1 through 5 moves.
Right, that must be where I heard it. Yeah.
But
yeah, that was a big part of it, was just trying to balance it for both PvE and PvP, since that's coming too, and just updates, things change.
Yeah, I also am curious on the animation, because I think the Berserker animations are super fun. I love all of them. Even his basic attack is like super cool. I remember that from I think it's pretty similar to like how it was before he had a codex, but like in general, like the Berserker animations are cool. I'm quality assurance. I assume you touch all this stuff, but like, were you part of like the animation and like how that works in general? Because like those moves, some of the moves are super cool. Like the one where he like doesn't flip and he's like attacking the other, like it's super cool.
Yeah, totally. No, a lot of that is I mean, Second Best Dad designs them all,
right,
of course, and Beetle Dude implements them all, and we go through them and check them and try to make sure they're perfect. But yeah, those guys really should get all the credit for how cool those look and how smooth and yeah, they spend a lot of time getting those just right. So no, I'm part of it in the sense where I get to like look at it and tell them you guys did a great job.
They're very cool, and I really like them. I think the Seer also has a bunch of cool, like the Seer, the tier 1 where he deals damage. Yeah, that one's very cool too. Yeah. So the animations have just been on point. I mean, Second Best Dad, we've only ever said good things about him here, and I want to say even more good things about him because it's just super fun. I love seeing the animations in action. I do want to ask. So we're talking about, and my headphones are kind of falling off, but the changes that were made to Berserker. Did you see a version of the Berserker that was different than what is currently that we're playing right now? And what changed?
I didn't see it too much of it before a lot of the big changes were implemented.
Okay.
Sasha and Hubert were going back and forth on those quite a bit to try to get it right. But no, I didn't really see a lot of it before, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because
I'm sure it's out there somewhere. Probably see if we can put those changes into the combat testing grounds. Like, it would be cool to try those.
Yeah. That would be kind of
question around balancing and the creation of these classes. It's Hubert said a few times that right now they're balancing for PvP, and PvP is kind of the goal. How much do the hunts kind of come into play with conversations? Because I'm sure they have to come into play a little bit. Like, that's what we're playing now, right? And the Berserker and the Seer definitely seem like they're not as great for hunts. They could be fun, but they seem more geared towards PvP.
Yeah, no, definitely, you're right about that. And they're both like, I don't even know how to explain it, but they're both like a medium difficulty class to manage. It's like the Knight's an easy class and the Priest is an easy class, and these ones are a little bit. It's not quite so obvious what you're supposed to do, right? And there's like which can be good and bad. Like, if you don't know what to do, you don't know which skills to pick or what to try to do. But also, there's opportunity to learn new things about it and figure it out. But kind of lost my train of thought there a little bit. Sorry, what was the question?
Welcome to
balancing.
We do that all the time.
Every time, yeah.
So balancing for PvP and how much hunts come into the discussion,
right.
Though you are balancing for PvP.
Yeah, so at this point, like, hunts are like the main thing that we use for testing and balancing. Like, we do have a bit of internal PvP that we're doing, but mainly, I mean, I guess that's going to change now, because this is like up until a week ago we were putting this new class out, and before that was the seer, and then before that was the burbs, and now we're just kind of in earnest focusing on PvP. So I think a lot more of the effort will go into balancing for the heroes fighting each other. But up until now, it's been more of like what's the word? More of an academic. Are these balanced for PvP? Just because we didn't really have the tools until the last few weeks to try it and see how balanced they were. But at the same time, I mean, it's like we know how the skills work and we understand how they're supposed to be used. And like it's like chess. Like you don't need to play chess to like know how it works exactly. You can just understand the game pretty well without it. So
bishops go sideways. I get it. But I will say this, which is maybe a question I was going to save for the end for alpha fishing. Do you have a testing ground, test net, where you're doing PvP currently?
Yeah, we have we're PvPing each other a little bit and trying stuff out, and
that's awesome. That's
it's exciting.
News, I feel like. That's awesome.
Yeah,
breaking news here on Backside Chess.
Yeah, we've got some. We're working on it. So we've got some stuff where we can fight each other and try some things out, and
that is very cool. That is very cool to hear. I think. Well, also I did want to comment on something. I don't know if you're going to have any response to this. Probably not. But a while ago, Workhorse went on the Mythic Squad podcast, and Workhorse said he's working 6 months in the future. All right, that's how he quoted what he was working on. Would you say what you're doing is 6 months in the future, or are you closer to the release dates of these things?
Yeah, I'm on the other side of the coin for sure. I'm thinking about like what's like this month usually. Or like if I'm not thinking about what's this month, I'm usually learning about what's next month or writing my own documentation for what's next month. And I'm thinking about the stuff that's much closer.
Okay. I guess that makes sense. And Workhorse is like the, theoretical guy. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. He's in the lab cooking things up.
Yeah.
He's also 3 months max into the future. That was bullshit, the 6 month thing. He's like 4.5
That's what he said. Maybe. He said that to Mythic Squad.
I know. I'm calling him out. I'm not calling you out. Don't worry.
Okay. We're going to start to get to the end here where we're going to start to fish a little bit. I hope you're okay with that.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
Okay. What gameplay feature are you most excited about?
Most excited about.
You least excited about something too.
Yeah,
no,
there's follow-ups. Yeah,
pick my favorite baby. I'm like I'm excited about all of them. I mean, and it's for different reasons. Like I'm excited for expeditions because I think it's going to be like a fairly big change. Like people will be able to focus the heroes they want to on this stuff and then focus other heroes on that stuff and not have to worry about it. So that'll be cool. And it's really just about how feature rich it's going to be, because we probably could have something ready now that just quests the heroes, but then you'd still have to go and take them out and level them up and put them back in. And so we want to have that be part of it. And that's just like a scratch on the surface of what we want to go into it. So I'm pretty excited about that one, but I don't know. I'm also pretty excited about PvP. Like I don't play tons of PvP, but like I'm excited just to see the crazy shit that people do, like the funny ways that they figure out how to beat each other, and I think it's going to be really really cool to see the community get nuts with PvP. So that's probably what I'm most excited about.
Okay. Maddie, did you have a follow-up there?
No, you go if you have one.
Cool. Going back to balancing a little bit, have there been any discussions around potion balancing? Is the team happy with where potions are and the weight and things like that? Is it something that's talked about?
Yeah, I think we're pretty happy about it right now. Like the idea was to try to give everybody a ton of potions, out of the gate, just to make sure there was enough for everyone to figure out what they liked and how the balance of it was and how the weighting worked. But as far as I know, I think we're pretty happy with it. I don't know. I don't really know. I would love to see the full size potions in play a little bit more, but also that's the game, right? It's balance. If you make them, if you make one obviously better than the other, then it's not. It's you've got a clear meta.
That question came from the full potions and how I had it written down as a topic for the pod as to is anyone using those? Like anyone at all? So I don't know. Like maybe they're weighed a little too heavy. I don't know. Not for me to say.
Yeah.
But, it's interesting.
Yeah, I don't use them myself just because it's not because they're weighed too heavy. It's just I would much rather have 3 small heals than one big heal, and that's just the strategy that I would choose to go with. There might be someone who has a really if you just have a Dread Knight or something, like you're using a Dread Knight as a meat shield and it has 1500 health or something, it might be worth it to you to have one giant heal to fill that guy up rather than a 33%. But I don't know. I sort of prefer the being able to heal more than one dude. Myself. Yeah. But yeah, no, to answer the question, we're pretty happy with it right now. There's not any plans to change those right away.
Okay.
What was I had one more question that I was going to ask. Actual combat stuff. So poison just got added, or I think right with Berserker, poison just got added. Is there another gameplay feature like that, in combat feature that we haven't seen yet, that you're excited for us to see, that you may or may not tell us about?
Yeah, sure. I'm really excited about all of the wizard stuff. I'm always stoked on elements like chill and burn, and we already have some gear. There's some Rockbach gear for that. So I don't know. That's the stuff I'm really looking forward to. Just those skills. Those are cool skills.
Yeah, that is interesting. And that was, I don't know if you know or not, I thought Pirate was going to be the next class, and I was incorrect about that.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah.
Oh, you heard that?
Yeah. You might have heard about that.
Heard about that.
But now that we've seen the axe was clearly, I think, for the Berserker, and the chicken wing was for the Seer, it seems like the equipment matches the classes, right? That's what it seems like, at least.
Yeah.
And so then the only other thing is those armor, the light armor buff against chill and what's the fire one called? Burn. Mm-hmm. So it seems like Wizard might be soon.
All right, Maddie, save your proclamations on what class
I'm
is next.
saying, if I'll get any information there, because it seems like the armor is for Wizard. Does that make sense?
No, that totally makes sense, and I see your logic of combining those things together to think that. So I don't know.
Did you think you were going to get more than that?
I don't know if that's really a good way to.
That was a great response. That was a great response.
Just be coincidence as well, but I will say that I don't think there's going to be any more classes until I think we're really focused on PvP. So
no, I think that's been clear.
But
yeah. I think we're all very excited to see the Metis Coliseum, and I think that's fine. I'm super excited for that. Also, the money, man, $2 million was allocated, right?
Yeah, definitely. There's some milestones and some stuff we have to do, but it's great to just have a little bit of stability. It feels like we were fighting from one island to the next one for a long time. But yeah, it's nice to have a little bit of breathing room and just to be able to continue building. So I think we're all pretty used to just keeping the belt tight and like just doing as much as we can with what we got, and it is nice though just to get that extra breathing room for sure.
Totally. All right, some last questions. What is your favorite class? Not necessarily playable right now, just in general.
Yeah. Favorite class, I think I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with Spellbow. I like the Spellbow the best. Like I think it's like the magicness and the Bowie-ness, and I like it. I like the way they look too.
And because you've seen their codex probably.
Yeah, well, they do. I mean, they're an elite class, so they're gonna have some power.
Yeah. All right, very fair. What is your typical boar team, like your 3 versus your box team? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I kind of do the same things for both of them. I'll usually do like an archer and 2 warriors, or 2 archers and a warrior, or like 2 archers and a priest. I really like the warriors and this is like maybe a hot take. I don't know. I don't hear people talking about this much, but I really like the warriors for the box, because you can taunt like everything, and like there is a buff for Mama if you taunt, right? So if you taunt,
it's worth it.
She's got it all the time though.
Like yeah.
You kill one baby and she's got it. So she's got it all the time. So I'm kind of like, use the taunts, lean hard, because like you can taunt the eggs and stop them from hatching.
Mm-hmm.
You can taunt the babies and stop them from doing ominous entrance. You can taunt Mama and she won't lay new eggs because she's taunt. Like there's so much stuff you can do with it. We kind of snuck it in there where it's like, don't taunt, but it's like taunt.
I remember,
and even taking the taunt away from it, just the idea of being able to hit the second row with the warrior where you can't really with the knight, and there might be a Berserker that I just don't use, but I don't know. I've heard people say that Gruff is the best move in the game, and I think it definitely has a case with the Unstoppable as well. It's very good.
Yeah. Gruff rules. So that's all I have to say about that.
I think when the box went live that night, we were on Discord in our ADFK guild, and I was like doing it live. I was the first like guinea pig, and I did it, and I was like, oh shit, you can't taunt them. If you taunt them, they get buffed. And like I said that over it live, and that was like the initial response, because like that's what it looks like on paper. But then you realize they're like, oh, wait, hold on a second. It's
a bit of a trick, isn't it?
Yeah. Like that was the initial thing we thought, and it was like, oh no. Like you need to be taunting at certain times.
You're still gonna want taunt, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I mean the what's his face? The Knight intimidation is really useful too. Like they are, as Mama is laying eggs, she's growing accuracy. Like she gets a buff when she lays eggs. So being able to intimidate her a little bit and lower that damage can really help a lot too. Taunt those burbs, taunt those eggs.
I know. All right.
The other one I'm going to throw out here, and this is like a teeny little. This is so you were talking about like what I like to use for both of them, but if I was going to sneak the other thing in there, the sleeper move that nobody uses, as far as I can tell, is a Hunter's Mark. It's a level 15 archer skill, so it's like, you got to pick it over Barrage or the 2. What's the other one? 2 arrow.
Is that lower evasion? I believe
it lowers their evasion and it lowers their physical defense, and it's a dot. So it'll if you can. So for the eggs particularly, this is extremely useful, because if you can taunt them and then Hunters Mark them, that won't break the taunt. Like they'll just be whittled away slowly by Hunter's Mark.
Not an attack. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and they'll stay taunted. So it's super useful. Like it's a sleeper skill that nobody is using. So I use that one all the time.
Interesting.
I kind of argued for a nerf, but it was talked down because, like, I mean, if no one's using it now, they're gonna not keep not using it if we nerf it. And I use it, so I was like, that's a pretty good point. You guys are right. Let's just leave it.
Well, I am curious. That's stuff I'm curious on, and those numbers. I've said this before. I've said it. My hair looks weird right now. Sorry, but the numbers and like usage, stuff like that. Like that is information. I don't know if you guys have access to that. Of like, I don't know, because maybe it's not.
Well, so ask the question: do you guys have access to the moves that we're all using?
Do you guys have access to the move sets that are being used by the general population?
Yeah, I believe that there's a database of that's saved with the combat engine. I don't know that we are, collating it right now or doing anything with it. But I think all that information is saved. Like we can go look up all the, if you have a hunt ID, you can look up all the turns and see exactly what was used and which heroes. And yeah, I mean, yes, all that information is there. No, I don't think we're looking at it.
Maybe a third party could suss out and handle.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much of that is exposed with the API, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I know that recently we made a small change to it so that less was exposed via the API, but I'm not sure. That's a really good question. We should I hate to put more stuff on the list, but maybe I'll put it on the list, or I'll put it on my list to ask somebody.
Well, because I mean, I that's something we talk about a lot, and we've talked about stuff. Other games do this. Like a meta report, a weekly meta report of like, these are the most used classes, the most used moves, the most used whatever. I think we would love to do that on our podcast. If we had that information, we would be talking about that every week. Of like, everybody used Archer. Oh, this week everybody used Warrior. That is stuff.
Here's a sneaker skill that's only been used 6 times in the last week, but it's got 100% win rate.
Right? Yeah. Like that stuff. Like we would love to do. And I think that's the beauty of kind of like Web3 is like that hypothetically is going to be available. You know what I mean? Like in the long run. So I like we love that stuff, and I think even if it was like, here's the raw data. Some third party could do it. Like if you guys could give that out there, I think we would love that.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, I agree. I think that'd be a really cool thing, at least for people to talk about. Like I know in all sorts of competitive games have that information, just so you can see like what the best players are using and how they win. There's nothing like, it's so fun to like get their builds and try them and get whooped, and it's like, oh my god, it's just that I suck. It's not that it's not that my build sucks. It's that I suck. It's
I'm doing the exact same thing and I'm losing. yeah.
So it's me.
And then in that same breath too, every skill should theoretically have a counter build too. So if a meta does really develop, you could build like the anti-meta build out too.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, no one plays that anymore because you can just get this one guy who basically shuts the whole thing down. So and that's actually a really great example of balancing as well. Like, I mean, if anything is out of balance, like we don't have to change that thing always to fix it. It's like something new can come into play that will negate itself, that or fix itself. Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
I think I saw a request in the chat to see my tattoo here.
Oh yeah. That was definitely.
I've actually got a couple of them. It's a group. But
wait, hold on.
Hold
on, wait, do it. Oh shit,
Maddie, we don't want to look at you.
No, I know. I was trying to make him big. I fucked it up.
Got a big panther here, and an ice cream cone, and a pizza slice, and a taco, and then the Mr. Sparkle. A little while ago, yeah.
It's from Japan, right?
Yeah, well, it's sort of, Simpsons, right? Yeah, it's yeah. What does he call him? He's like calls him. There's your answer, fishbulb or something like that.
Yeah. It's like Mr. something. Yeah,
Mr. Sparkle.
Yeah. Wow, very cool. All right. Well, did I miss any questions? Do you guys have anything?
I got a giveaway.
Yeah, hit me. Or not me, really.
Yeah. So wait, trying to share.
You're gonna do a wheel, or have you?
No, I got the giveaway tool. So
we're doing a contest.
Hashtag Mr. Sparkle in the chat to enter. It's gonna be for a 10 of 10.
Ooh.
Not
what do you?
So
what's the class?
If
I have the counter to it or the pair to it.
Wait, what is it, Mr. Sparkle? I did it wrong.
Mr. Sparkle.
Is it still a crystal?
It looks like Mrs. Parkle, but it's you got it. That's perfect.
That's the actual hidden meaning there. Mrs. Parkle was my 3rd grade teacher, and I'm a big fan of hers.
Really?
Shout
That's
out, Mrs.
wild.
Parkle. If you're out there.
All right, yeah. Throw in Mr. Sparkle, aka Mrs. Parkle, in the chat, and we'll throw you in a giveaway for a 10 of 10. Do we have a rarity, or are you gonna summon it live?
Digital Sniper, fix that spelling. Digital Sniper.
Are you summoning it live or?
Yeah, it's an egg. I got my eggs here. Oh no, I didn't share window, I guess. Hold on.
Winston, make sure you get in on the chat too.
Oh yeah.
You don't have to.
I want to win.
It's gonna be one of these.
Dude, how many?
Are these all 10 of 10s? How many Gen Zeros do you have?
I just have 3 pairs, but I have not opened one in months.
Okay.
Months.
You're a jerk then.
We're gonna do a stream one day soon once hero prices are
Like
better.
insane. Yeah.
I'm gonna open them all. It's gonna be great. All right, we got 19 entries. Anyone else? Mr. Sparkle, Mrs. Parkle.
We still got a few people trickling in, so give it like a minute. Winston, yeah. Anything we didn't ask you that we should have been that you want to share?
Well,
wait. Actually, I want to ask you one question that we were kind of chatting about pre-show.
Sure.
I see you often in the general chat on the Discord, mixing it up with the people. What are your thoughts on that? You love mixing it up with the Gen chat there, huh?
Yeah, I do. I think it's good. I think it's nice to get to know the people who are playing and like.
Is that what you're doing though? Like, I feel like there's a lot of ridiculous people there. Come on.
It does help to have like a positive voice in there as well. Trying to move the negativity along. Sometimes people got to let it out, and that's
all right.
That's what you do. You let them let it out to the point where it's like, that's enough. It's time to move on. And no, I really enjoy it. I've really enjoyed getting to know like all the community members and the regulars in there and people who are in there hanging out all the time. So I think it's good. It's critical to not take it too personally, and I feel like I've gotten pretty good at that. And
that's good.
Yeah, totally. So, and yeah, I hope that nobody else takes anything I say personally either. It's nonsense. Literally 100% of it is nonsense. So, yeah. No, I love it. I love getting in there.
What is your opinion on Kirby feet?
I'm fine with them. I mean, I'm not, I don't have any of my own.
They should not exist. They're an abomination. They're an abomination.
One question we did forget to ask: when is PvP dropping?
Oh yeah, when PvP?
Oh, it's later. It's later.
Great point. Great.
Later. Got it.
It's gonna be later.
Next 3 classes after PvP drops.
Yeah.
You could put that. What's after later? It's still just later, right? Like
more later. I think
later-ish. Later, yeah.
Later.
No, that's a term. Later is a term. Yeah.
All right. I think we got everybody in.
All right. Yeah. The time has ended. The roll is happening. Oh.
Robert Kirk. Come on down. Let's see what you won.
We're gonna live summon it. Oh, that's
pick
fun.
one in the middle. Don't do the
pick
top
a random one. Yeah.
That one.
Is that the one you meant?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Robert Kirk, DM me on Discord. And here's hoping that you got a mythic.
If it's a mythic, are you going to keep it?
Just kidding. I do not hope you got a mythic. I hope it's a common.
It's a mythic. A mythic drops off. He just leaves the stream. Like,
well, Berserker.
Common. Darn. I'll do one more since it was common. Efficient.
You got efficient though.
I'll do one more since it was common.
Wait, he gets the 10 out of 10 with efficient, right?
No, he gets that one. I'm saying I'll spin the wheel again.
We're doing another spin. Same, everyone's still eligible?
Yeah.
All right,
last one.
Is by the way, quickly, is Sir Worm going live? Do you know what tonight?
Yeah, Worm, everybody tune in to What in the DFK is This with Sir Worm and Emerson right after this. I think he said he's back this week on another stream. I think Friday night he said it.
I thought you said
On
that.
Sarge's
Yeah.
stream.
10:30.
Are you respinning or what's going on here?
Oh, shit.
Yeah, we got
Nobody
you.
look at that screen. Here we go. It has hatched on the other screen.
Oh!
And
Worm,
he's
you
not
have to
going
go
live.
now.
Going live. Okay.
Do I not count this and respin? Because
No,
he's not going
no.
live.
He's
give
not
him-
going
give
live,
him
so
the
respin.
thing.
He got a Berserker as well.
Ooh,
Nope, it's a monk.
Oh, it's a
That was
monk.
a little
I was going to say I did not see
Seer?
an axe.
Monk Seer.
double force.
Double fight.
Some
That's
locks.
solid.
Yeah, goddess walks. Cool.
I bet he'll give that away on his stream next week.
Well, saying that kind of ensures it because now he's a jerk if he
Just
doesn't.
gives
'cause
away,
she
he
said
gives
it.
away everything he wins. He gives away. I've seen it multiple times. All right. This was awesome stream. Last comments, Franz, Guy Kid. Did we not cover anything? Do you guys have anything else?
No, Winston, thanks for coming on. It was a pleasure. Yeah,
Yeah,
keep doing what you're doing. We love what you're doing.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank
Winston. Floor is yours to promote anything or say anything we missed. Thank you for coming on. Do you have any final comments for us?
Nothing. No. Thanks, sir. Thanks for having me. Thanks for just in general being the best community out there. You guys are great. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for playing. Thanks for being a part of this silly fucking game. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Well, this has been an episode of Bogside Chats. My name is Matty Pesk for Franz and for Guy Kid and for our guest, Winston Jazzhands. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll catch you next week.
Love you guys.